नमस्कार. यशवंतराव चव्हाण प्रतिष्ठान व मराठी विज्ञान परिषद यांच्या संयुक्त विद्यमाने आयोजित होत असलेल्या विज्ञान गंगा या विज्ञानाशी संबंधित विषयावरील व्याख्यानमालेत आपले सर्वांचे स्वागत. आजचे व्याख्यान या मालिकेतील 36वे व्याख्यान आहे. प्रास्ताविक व वक्त्यांची ओळख साधारणपणे परिषदेचे कार्यवाह श्री अप्पा देशपांडे हे करतात, पण आज ते त्यांच्या मुलाकडे ऑस्ट्रेलियाला असल्यामुळे ही जबाबदारी माझ्यावर आहे. आजच्या व्याख्यानाचा विषय आहे ग्लास टेक्नॉलॉजी. व्याख्यान इंग्लिशमधून असेल. ग्लास इज सेड टू बी द मोस्ट versatile material and is present almost every year. It can be used all around the world in multiple disciplines and industries. तसा आज ग्लास टेक्नॉलॉजीवर आपल्याकडे जे बोलायला आलेले आहेत स्पीकर, त्यांचं व्यक्तिमत्वही तेवढंच ग्रेट आहे आणि त्यांची मी एक थोडक्यात ओळख करून देतो. डॉक्टर G.P. कोठियाल, फॉर्मरली हेड ग्लास अँड ॲडव्हान्स सिरामिक डिव्हिजन BARC and professor of physics at Homi Bhabha National Institute. Normally the top brass in BARC, they are recognized by the batch to which they belong to. Okay. So he is a product of 13th batch of BARC training school from physics discipline. The number of research papers published by him are nearly 160 and more than 100 articles relating to science communications have been published by him. He has even authored some books. He is a recipient of several awards. To name a few are Department of Atomic Energy Group Achievement Award 2009 and 11, Indian Nuclear Society Science Communication Award for the year 2009. He is recognized reviewer for various scientific journals and was awarded Outstanding Reviewer status in May 2017. He has been a visiting professor at the Institute of Physics in one of the universities in Poland. He has visited many overseas laboratories in USA, France, Portugal, China, etc. He has served as chief editor of Vaigyanik, a publication of Hindi Vigyan Sahitya Parishad, for more than 25 years. Now I request Dr. Kothiyal.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm audible. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers and especially Deshpandeji and the organizers here, Kale Saab and Modak who have arranged my lecture at this place. And this topic has been very, very important from the technology point of view and because of its application. So, Mr. Deshpandeji was always telling that I should give a talk on this technology, at least in this how the things change and how we have been able to use glass for various applications. So, I will just come just to demonstrate that when we are looking for macro, micro and nano size, just want to give an idea that when we are looking for in the macro size, this is a person who has got a height of 6 feet. It looks like that an apple or an ant of this size, and that is equal to the 6 feet is 2 billion nanometer, because we are talking on nanometer, this is 2 billion nanometer. Then if we come to the macro region, then we find that the diameter of a human hair, which is about 75,000 nanometer, human hair, one human hair, and the smallest size which I can see is about 10,000 nanometer. So this is small, and the bacteria, the E. coli, is about 2,000 nanometer. But now if we reduce the still size smaller than that, we can see that buckyball, it is 1 nanometer, then we have DNA which is 2 nanometer, and we have the diameter of the carbon nanotube which is 1.3 nanometer. So we can see that how if size is changing, how we are looking the object. Now I'll just show you that in 3 different scales, if we are looking this object, this particular area in this one, this particular area which is in the macro region, that is in the 10 centimeter, this scale is 10 centimeter, and as we are reducing it, we are seeing it, this small section how it is appearing. Up to the 100 micron region, you can see that this spot is looking like this. Now if we go still down to the higher magnification, that is 10 micron region, then 1 micron region, and go to the 100 it is showing nanometer, then we see that how the same spot is becoming more and more illustrated. You can see more finer details. And once we come to the 10 nanometer and 1 nanometer, you can see this small part, how we are able to see in the atomic level, very, very small size, that this part is having the more details which can look like this. This idea I just wanted to give because I was talking from the macro to nano size, just to give you an idea about it. Now we are looking first for the new materials. The materials can be either structural material, that is advanced materials. Now we are looking, glass is among the advanced materials. It is a structural, but it can be a structural material or it can be a functional material. And the functional, if it is for some functionality, certain application, we have got a structure where we are looking for the mechanical property. Now glass and glass ceramic or glass nano micro crystal composite. So this can be in these forms, so that we can have it for different application, these glasses for these in this form. Now nanotechnology, when we are talking about the glass, nanotechnology has a historical association, because much earlier than the nanotechnology in modern day it has come. Nanotechnology was indirectly being used in the glass technology, and how it was seen that the ancient glass makers were among the first nanotechnologists, though it was not told, but they have used a colloidal, very fine particles of the gold and silver in the glass, and from that thing they could prepare pigmented glass long before the modern technology. Modern technologies came when we are having much more advanced technology, instrument which could see. The modern nanoscience, we can say technology, was introduced in the field of glass when the advent of sol gel and the process which provided the better opportunity to tailor the microstructure. So these are the little finer details. Now this is what I wanted to show. This is actually 4th century. This kind of a glass item was prepared. Glass, it is fabricated, where gold and silver particles were put in this one, in the silica lime glass, and the colloidal silver and gold particles were responsible for the, you can see the color. When if you are seeing through the transmitted light or reflected light, so through that we could see this thing. And that time those scientists or those people did not know that it is nano, but they put a very fine particle and they could make this kind of a effect. That is some effect of the physics it was brought out. Now I am coming to glass. Glass has a unique combination of various physical and chemical properties. That is, glass has the transparency, chemical inertness, thermal stability, corrosion resistance, long durability, and electrical insulation, blowing compatibility, and all these things are there. Because of that thing, today we are able to have this glass, and it's another improved version which we will call as the glass ceramic in various applications. So thereby we have the almost in every discipline of science and technology, even engineering or even everyday life, we have the everyday life. We have got, we start from the morning, we start with the glass, glass for drinking of water, we have a glass. Then we wear the specs, there is a glass, and many utensils, many things are there of the glass. Our windows are glass, and so many things are there which is in our daily life. So that is how we are now with the advanced technology, thinking life without glass is now becoming unimaginable, and with all these advanced applications of the glasses, now we can say that we are nearing towards the glasses. Some people, some in the West, they have already announced that the glass age is coming, like space age and things like that, the glass age has come. Now, what is glass? Just wanted to give you this idea about before I go to the application. The word has come from the Indo-European, means shining. When we say glass, in our mind it comes that it is something shining, some shining things is there, that is called a glass, and which also tells that it is having a glare or glow or glaze. This is one idea which is there from Indo-European meaning. Then there is some other name for the glass is the vitreous. It is a vitreous material, and vitreous has come from the Latin word for the glass, and normally not much difference is made between the glassy and the vitreous material in a very broad language. Now scientifically we tell that glass is an amorphous solid, which means that exists no long range order, because in any material, if we are looking for the material, glass, a crystal, any material if you take, even a crystal material, it can be a glassy material or it can be a polycrystalline material. If a material has got all atomic or molecules are arranged in a very wide order fashion, we tell it is a crystal, and if this order exists on a very limited range, then we call it as a glass. I will just tell you, you can just see that silica is the one of the important, we can say that a glass, silica is a common material, but we have now using silica and mixing so many other items in it, we could prepare different kind of glass. What we want to say that average distance between the silicon atom in a vitreous silica. In silica, this is the atom, this we have got these 4 oxygens, and this is silica here, silicon here. So they are arranged in a tetragonal form. They are not just arranged like this. In a particular form they are there. This is tetragonal, and the average distance between the silica and the oxygen is about 3.6 angstrom. 3.3 angstrom is 1 angstrom is 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter, or it can be called as a 0.1 nanometer. So this is just thing. So this order, what we are talking, I am talking of the order, this is existing only to a limited distance, maybe about up to 10 angstrom. So it's a very small region, it has got an order. We can just look at here. Just to demonstrate, I was just telling that this is in this particular material, the order is there. It is some, let us take some material is there, M2O3 crystal. So you find that throughout the thing, a particular order is there. You can see the surrounding of a particular atom will be same. If you look here, you will look here, you will find the same. So this is called a single crystal material. But very well ordered material, it is a single crystal. But if you are looking for a glass, you can find that in the glass, these atoms are arranged very randomly, and there is order is only very limited thing, about maybe about 10 angstrom regions, 1 minute for 2-3 atomic spacing. But even because of that, there are glass has got very numerous applications. Now there are other descriptions in the literature or in the say that glass is prepared by cooling the normal such way that it does not crystallize. So there are other definitions, I will just skip it. Is a glass product, I will just say, and traditionally made in inorganic materials and calcium carbonate, feldspar, borate, phosphate. These are the different type of glasses we call. And some new exotic, now with the time we are able to have some exotic glass materials, and organic polymer glasses are also now available, and new areas which are the areas are there, that is the glass by solvent technique, because with this technique we can control the size, once you sensitize the particle size and other thing, and which can give us a new property. Optical waveguide, non-linear properties, and glass laser. I will just come to a very important application, that is the fiber optics glasses, which is actually very important. In one side we have in the commercial purposes, and one other side is for the telecommunication and communication. And the fiber optic glasses have really revolutionized the communication system. I'll talk about that thing later. But just to give you, this is the scientific definition of the glass. It is an amorphous solid completely lacking in a long range order, but it exhibits a glass transition behavior, because when it is prepared, it has to go through one transition which is called a glass transition. Now let us have some look at the historical pattern. The earliest glass was known about 12,000 BC, which is reference is there in the literature. Then pure glass, the earlier known glass it was not that pure, about 12,000 BC, but earliest pure glass was seen when it came in the literature and people went about 7,000 BC, and both were found in Egypt, probably brought from Asia. From Asia, when people migrated, some people migrated to the Egypt, they brought from Asia that thing. Now, then after that we started with the use. When this glass was there, it was being initially used only as decorative objects. And later on, initially you will find that always in the earlier days, you will find some glass object, very decorative glass, we will put it on a table or anything. These are the glass items. Earlier things were there. Then they have tried to press those things, those glasses, and then make some kind of a vessel. But those were not very good looking and everything, but they were just depending upon the requirement of that time, that old time, whatever they were made in the press, in the vessel. But then there was an invention of the glass blowing, we will say about 1st century, around 1st century, the glass blowing, that is the blowing of a molten glass into the thing, and then one can see here that how that this is with a blower, glass is there, and the person, the glass blower with his mouth, or nowadays they are using other technique where they can by pumping or by other technique they can blow, because by pumping by mouth it can have some kind of a hazard to the person. So now so he is able to blow with a hot glass and will make any type of the shape, and we can find a variety of things. Then glass blowing 1st century BC, and then it was used in a vessel and windows in the Roman times. During the Roman Empire time, it was in the windows came. The glass was used as a window. Earliest stained glass was made in 7th century. The stained glass also, we'll see, just I'll show you in the next slide, but before that I just wanted to, so stained glass, which is again a colored glass, that is you put some kind of a salt in the glass while manufacturing, and it gives you a different color, and that different color makes the things beautiful. I'll just show you in the next slide, but before that I just tell you that in the West, the glass manufacturing was dispersed in isolated field in Roman Empire and continued in Byzantium and later Middle East by Arabs, and Venice became the center of the thing. Even today we look for the Venice, where the Venice glass, Venetian glass and other things. All the glasses, beautiful glasses come from the Venice. Venice is still, there are two types of things there. Because I visited about few years back to the Venice and then saw where actually they were making the glasses, even with the old technique, blowing and other things. In spite of the fact, now there are modern ways to prepare the glasses, but both people were perfected in that one. So, in the 20th century, we have made this technology with an empirical idea. Earlier there was no science in it, they were just doing from their mind and their experience. That was up to 20th century, and the scientific understanding to improve the manufacture and new application came in the last few decades only. It is a few decades back. Now this is what I was talking about, the stained glass. You must have seen that in the various churches and religious places, you will always find these structures of the stained glasses. And as I told in the beginning, that glass is very, very stable material. So because of that stability in the glass, we could see these things are found in that same form without getting degraded. You can see that it is from 17th century cathedral it has been taken. So you find that it is still, it is showing the same appearance and other things, so it doesn't give. And so this is one type of stained glass which is very old time, and one is the one of the latest which has been made among the best stained glass of work in the world. There are about 25, 30, what they call it. But out of that, one of these things, this was Cathedral of Brasilia, was designed by the architect Oscar Reyes, completed in 1960. And the stained glasses were painted by Marian Preti in 1990 and are made of the 16 pieces of fiberglass. So this is now things have changed, or this kind of things are also available. Now during the 19th century, glass fibers were used for making the fabric. The 19th century glass fibers, and these glass fibers all came in the form of a glass wool or fire resistance aprons. After World War II, World War onward, activity in the glass sign grew because it became very important material, and because even for the material for the bulletproof material glasses and other thing and visibility. So this after World War II, this got glass signs was introduced, and more new type of materials came. Considered in the 1960s is the golden age for the glass sign, because the useful application of the basic science to the understanding of glass terms, structure and composition. Then we try to understand what is the glass, what is its composition, how it is manufactured, if we change, if we add different materials, how we can change. So now we are having a variety of glasses. Glass has been in much use, but it has polymer and other thing, because it has systematic studies were not there, therefore this has not picked up. But in the recent years, now the glass science has picked up. This is just to demonstrate that what I was talking, that in the glass, how the glass is made. That is, glass is prepared. You can say that initially when it is a hot liquid form, whatever glass if you want to make of material, when it is in the liquid form, all molecules are moving in this form, all are looking in the liquid form. But when we cool them, if for a single crystal, we will find that when it is coming near the melting point, it will just solidify and form, get current in a very regular form, and this material we call it as a single crystal. But the other type of material is that when we bring it less than melting point, cool it less than melting point, in a normal case, any material, any liquid, if you bring it below the melting point, it should solidify. But there are certain techniques that we can bring it below the melting point, and this is what we call it as a super cooled liquid. When we are preparing glass, we are bringing that. That means we are bringing this material so fast that it is not having sufficient time to settle down and solidify. So that is called a super cooled liquid, but there is, because of the viscosity has increased, so you can see the movement has reduced very much. These molecules are reduced, and if the temperature has been brought further down, we can see that they have just those atoms and molecules are just settled down at different places where there is not much order as in the first case where it is a single crystal. And that is we call as a glass, and you can see that glass is here. Now we can just see that there is another way that where we are having the this glass, that is from the molten. If you have bring it very fast to the room temperature, so we will find that it is in the form of glass. It is formed, and this is one of the furnaces which was in my lab, where from a molten thing we bring it down, we pour it in such a manner very fast, so that this is not arranged, the atoms and molecules are not arranged that fast, and we get a glass in the form of a glass, whatever shape we want, and then we can arrange. This is a picture from my lab, one furnace was there. This is the glass blowing lathe, where we can see that very high temperature, how a glass blower can, while it is rotating and turning, and he can give any shape, whatever is there with his tools, a glass blowing lathe. Now, just to give you another introduction of the another type of material, because the glass, we form a glass ceramic, it is another class of material when we make glass. I talked about the single crystal where full order is there. I have talked about the glass where order is very, very less. So, but there are some properties which are good in glass, which are the crystals, that is the ceramic part, and there are in the glass. But to have the best of both things, we have got new material which is called glass ceramic, where we have very crystalline crystals, small crystals put in the glass matrix. Overall it is a glass, but we have got the crystals embedded into it, and that gives you the different kind of properties. I'll not go into details how it is manufactured, but you can just have a broadly looking that we just say it is in the glassy form. Now they grow in the crystal form, and this is becoming a glass carrier where there are the crystals, but the total background and matrix is the glass. So it is in the thing, and it gives us a lot of improved property, particularly in the mechanical strength, corrosion resistance, and other things. So we are using for many other applications. We can just see they exhibit better thermal stability, electrical insulation, mechanical strength, thermal expansion, tunability, bioactivity and compatibility. This is very, very important nowadays because now we are coming to the new type of materials which are useful, glass and glass ceramic materials which are useful for our body, for health application, for many implants, for a new type of treatment. The glass and glass ceramic is being used. Now let us come to the some application. The glasses in utility and decorative items. This was the initially we had two type of things, decorative items, and I think even today utility and decorative items. Innovative architecture. Architecture you see nowadays everywhere there is a architecture which is full of glass, total glass, and those glasses with a proper coating can give you energy saving. That glass can give you the power saving, as well as it can give you sufficient light, it can give you a different kind of cooling effect, it can give you a hot heating effect, and that we can do that conservation of special coatings. Then safety gadget, bullet resistant, fireproof glass windows. A bulletproof, particularly for the many places we have seen that the bulletproof, bullet resistance and bulletproof things are used. Glass windows are used, fireproof. Medical uses in the container glasses or for medical containing those medicines, while diagnostic surgery implant and special applications. These are very special, that particularly in nuclear energy we have radiation RSW glass is there, windows are there, resistant glass, then laser host making a laser, GMC, optical fiber for communication, display panels, TV, mobile cover, foldable display. This is the latest thing which is now the foldable display of the glasses. Let us just look at the bullet resistance, how it works. Just concern you can say how it is made. Bullet resistant, that simply if you take a glass, one glass, you will find that when the bullet falls on it or comes impacts on it, it will just crack. It is, but it will just pass through because while it is cracking, a lot of energy is dissipated in the first one. But when we really make nowadays the bulletproof group, it is not only a single glass plate, but it is having a glass plate, and in between we have a polycarbonate sheet. Polycarbonate and glass, we can have more or less similar type of the transparency, so that transparency is not lost, but we can live. So what is happening now? The bullet is coming here, it is just hitting here, and it will just crack. Lot of energy is dissipated. Then it will go in the polycarbonate, where it will again damping will take place, and by the time the bullet comes out, it has got not much energy, and so it is not very effective though. And even in this, then tempered glass is better than the ordinary glass plate we take. That is a processing. Now we can just see this is also a polycarbonate, and we have some glasses which can have the same transparency. But I wanted to say that when we are putting polycarbonate along with the glass, we are having the same transparency, but we have got a different application. Utility and decorative, we can just okay. Let me just do that. Yeah. Now I was coming. We know that in 2009, Nobel Prize was awarded to two scientific achievements. That was the help in the shape formation of today's network society. So we can say that Charles Fionacio of the British company, that was a standard telephone company in those times, he made a discovery, made a breakthrough in fiber optics. He showed that how to transmit light for long distances via optical glass fiber. So then the optical glass fibers were made, optical quality glass fibers were made, and then signal was transmitted through the fiber. And then we can see that today we have got the fibers, pure fibers, where it is possible to transmit light signal over 100 kilometers, more than 100 kilometers compared to only 20 kilometers of fiber available in 60. In the beginning, whatever fiber was available, earlier then we had the copper wires and other things like that. In these metal wires, there was a lot of loss of signal, and you must have seen that earlier when we were talking on telephone, even the telephone communication was very poor. We had to shout and everything. Now, even if somebody talks from US and here, we just hear in a very normal way. So that communication is not through the optical fiber. So that was in 70s, and fiber optic communication system have revolutionized the telecommunication and have played a major role in the advent of the information age now. Now first ultra pure fiber was in 70s by the same this professor, and low loss glass fibers facilitate the global broadband communication in like internet, and the light flows in thin threads of the glass, and it carries almost all telephony and data traffic, each and every direction, text, music, images, all. Now we see whatever we are seeing all these things. But what is important, I want to say that it is an optical fiber, it is a glass technology which has given this kind of material, and we are able to take advantage of that. Now, what is an optical fiber? We can see that we are seeing that here you can see in the picture that each fiber, that fibers may be very, very small size, and they are in the form of a bundle. Like in the, you can see any cable, we find the metal wires and very fine wires, they are put together. In a similar way, we can put this thing, and this is an optical cable. Many fibers which are maybe of very small size, micron size fiber, they put it there and make the bundle, and then optical fibers are made usually telecommunication and that and used in the medicine to see inside our own body to see now. You can see optical fiber is a different type of fiber. Now cables are available like optical fiber, and they are being laid like a normal metal cables. So the technology has advanced so much that we can, these cables are going, and but with this thing we are able to get much better communication and faster communication and clear communication, but the cables are in a similar way we can install it. This is just a principle how it works on the total internal reflection. I am not going into the detail of that thing. Now this is another thing, glass which has come with these three, which is a bendable glass. This was a requirement that how, when a glass is normally we just try to bend it will break and other thing, but now the technology has gone into this advanced level that we are able to get the bendable glass like this. I will show in the, at the end I will show you one video which will tell some more thing about it. So let us just see that it is, we are able to get the bendable glass. This is how this is what bendable glass works like this, that how we are putting, and it can go bend like this. Now low thermal expansion coefficient glasses, because glass, this is important. I was telling that the expansion coefficient is important because glass is breaking, because when from the hot high temperature bring it down because of the thermal coefficient, different thermal coefficient, it just cracks and everything. But now technology is such that we are able to make glasses by mixing different components, different chemicals, different components, that the expansion coefficient we bring it to very, very small expansion coefficient, so that from the hot condition, if you bring it to the room temperature, there is not much change in the expansion, and it does not crack. And we have all cookwares, cooktop panels. Everybody is using, in every house we have got the cookwares and the cooktop panels which are being used of the glass, with famous the Corning glasses, and many glasses are available here. So optical ceramics are also there. We have got, which can withstand these temperatures, -50 to +50, they have well distance sustained. Precision telescoping mirror, because telescoping mirror, very large mirrors are made, but what is required that due to the thermal reaction, because -50, 100 degree, high temperature, low temperature, there should not be any change in the in dimension, because very small change in dimension can make the optical beam going anywhere and we cannot make any measurement. So such things are being made by control of the component and processing. Such glasses are cleaning due to the flatness and holes, irregularities, and these are little more details. But we can see the cookware, optical glass, ceramic, precision telescopic mirror, laser gyro for the mechanical gyros in the aeroplane. These are being used. This is just to tell you all cooktop panels. All of us we know that nowadays that from the direct fire we can bring it the same thing into our dining table. We can use them and we can directly heat on that thing, because these things are especially of the glass ceramic material which I told, and where we have controlled the composition so that the expansion coefficient of the rejected material is very small and that does not break. And now we have got all non-breakable glass, and this is a 8.2 meter telescope mirror, which is also, this expansion coefficient is zero, near zero expansion coefficient, and zero expansion coefficient has been made so that even if whatever temperature change is there, in that temperature change, the dimensions of the telescopic mirror will not change, and so we are able to make very good telescopic thing. All these things, all of us know from cornering, tableware, all kinds of these things are available, though they don't appear like glass because they are the glass ceramic, some opacity is there, and we are using, everybody is using these things. Now we have one decorative item is there, in particularly quite big one, we can make like this. Now these are the medical, we can see different places, glasses. In pharmaceutical glass container we have the bottle. But one should remember that these glasses for medical pharmaceutical application, they are made with very careful composition, cleanliness. Because I have, even when I have gone to Venice and I have seen where the pharmaceutical thing made, they make these glasses, bottles and vials and syringes and everything under very ultra clean room, all mechanically all things done. There is no insult because this is for the medical purpose. So that care is taken. Now we have got all these laboratory glasses, all laboratory, all type of glasses, beakers and funnels and all glasses is used. We have normal vision, the specs and other things. We have these safety glasses when we are working with fire or even welders and other things. We need transparency, but at the same time they should be fire resistant. So this kind of common application are here. We can see in the simply different kind of items which are for having the that of the glass, beautiful glass, decorative pieces and utility items. We can have different kind of glasses, and I think wine glasses they are made of those things. This is, now we have a fire safety glass. Again, fire safety glasses are also important for us, because when we are making the buildings and other things, when we put the glasses, so depending upon these are actually now available, and in this glass it is not simply a soda lime glass, because with soda lime glass melts at low temperature if there is a heat, and so it will try to melt, and so you will not be able to have sufficient time. But then we have, with the time we have made new glasses, softening temperature, higher softening temperature, and which is can sustain higher temperature. So even if there is a fire somewhere in the thing, we have enough for 30 minutes of time before that heat and this thing comes here, we can take all precautions for that thing. So these are all panels which are the fire resistant glasses which is made. This is actually from short glass who have made. Normally glasses will have higher viscosity due to the low flow behavior, and we can have about the 90 minutes can be achieved with more extra. So borosilicate glass, and these are the being used. Another glass I talked about, the bulletproof glass, which I have already. This is another glass which is needed for the insulating glass of soundproof. All you can see that in AC trains or aeroplanes or radio station, air testing station, auditorium, where was the recording and other thing, you need a glass which is soundproof. So this is made especially the plain glass. put inside, there is partial vacuum is created, and these glasses is made so that we don't get the sound. Sound does not travel in vacuum. So if there is some vacuum is there, sound doesn't travel there. Only light travels here. So we can have, if this glass is there, other side, whatever noise is this side, the other side doesn't go. So in auditorium, so such things are available now. Now this is the different kind of glasses. We can see all showrooms and all the malls and other things. So what is important here, that clear view. But normally you will see a glass, if you cool it, there will be a frosting. You cannot see. But here you can see, you have seen that world, everything is put inside a cold atmosphere, because you have to protect those, preserve those materials. So those things are put in there. So what is done, that the glass is there, and over that such coating is done so that there is no water sticking to it, and one we can say that every atom, even if at low temperature, we are able to see them clearly. Here also we see all kinds of materials which are in the low temperature we are seeing, combined with a high thermal insulation, anti-reflection glass, and which has got the you can do the. This is resistance shielding glasses of the various dimensions are there. This is resistance shielding. This is particularly for the, when we are talking of the radiation, it is more of the nuclear radiation. Because when we talk about nuclear radiation, we want to protect the people from the nuclear radiation while they are working. So such glasses are made. These are available, but now even VARC will, in collaboration with the CGCRI, that is Kolkata, and other company, we are able to produce some of the glasses for our own use. Everything I will just show you later on some things. So that is one thing, and this is again the same thing. When with the proper anti-reflecting coating, you can see the distance effect. You can see that something is put in here and something is put at the back. You are able to see both the things very clearly, because over the glasses we have put a particular type of coating on it, and with showcases you can see even the distance is not coming into picture. We can see the things inside the glass. Now this kind of thing, everybody knows that office towers, how many big, all glass, all throughout glass. But these glasses again are important. You can put the coating for the hot places. You put the coating so that the that heat radiation doesn't go inside the room. So inside room is cool, so you need not to heat it. But in other places where it is a cool places, we want to send the, when the sun is coming, the heat radiation going inside, warming will be there, so then you cost is saved. So it can be used for both cold and the hot places. Proper coating is done, and panels are there. You can see that how these panels are made. Nowadays the complete thing is there. Anti-reflection coating, facets, and these are available everywhere. And anti-reflection coating, which I am talking about, but we make the glass, float glass sheets are here, big sheets we can make like running a cloth. Nowadays it is possible technology that like running a cloth, you can just make sheets long, make a meters long sheets are of glass made, then you put the coating on it, and then you make this thing. So the, as whatever way it is required, we can put that coating and use it. You can just again see that how the effect of anti-reflection coating on a glass. If we put a simple glass, it is on this side. If there is no coating, you can see you are not able to see the atoms inside clearly. But on this side there is a coating, you see inside everything very clearly. Similarly here, it is uncoated, and when it is coated, you see how good it looks like. So the coating is from the aesthetic sense as well as the thing. Now another thing is self-cleaning glasses. Self-cleaning glasses is again here the nanotechnology. When we say that when we are able to go to the smaller dimension, then we do some coating on it, and you can say glass is coated. Here I have written here. Here you can see this is the side which is not traditional glass, where it is not coated. But this is the glass which is coated with the anti-reflection coating, a particular coating which can repels the water and dust, etc. Then you can see sunlight for it. Usually all coating, it is a very bad surface, but it is a clean surface, because it does not allow this dust and water to settle on it. There is a coating, titanium dioxide coating is done on it, and this is a photocatalytic the light falls in it, and titanium oxide is, I'm not going into details of the photofatality, but you can say that it will not allow to this. There is another type of glass, where it does not, another super hydrophobic coating. There is another type of coating which again repels a glass, and this is important for the purpose of the glass where water droplets will not stay. This is for the driving purpose. Even people put it on the specs so that when they are traveling, if the rain is there and nothing, it does not come on your eyes, and or if you come in some places, cold, if you come outside and put it, it becomes a, even so the AC car, if you come out and in normal time you will not be able to see. But these coatings are put, so it will not allow those water to stay there, and it is a clear view is there. So these are important from the point of view of the self-cleaning glasses. So here again the nano particle has its role. That biomaterials, that medical application, which is again a very, very important nowadays, and now we see that biomaterials, as we know, it is a non-drug substance that is suitable for introduction. In the body system, we put this is a no drug, but it is put in the body system which will augment or replace the function of the bodily tissues or organ. So if you are putting these materials inside your body, they are not, either they will grow along with the body tissues, or they will be just stay there, do its function. Suppose somewhere, we'll just see that when some leg breaks, or I think you put some kind of gap is there, you put some filler material here, it stays there, and either it will join together at some time, or it will stay without affecting them. So that is how it can give you. There is a history for it. I am not going into that history, but why we are looking, I just gave who is the important person in this case this is the proper Larry Hans, who is very important, who thought that when we can make so many other type of materials which can the radiation resistance and everything, and actually he was really moved when there was a Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, there was a lot of damages take place, lot of soldiers and everything. Their limbs were to be removed, and the artificial limbs were put there, and there, but for some time it was okay. Then he thought, why not we make such material which can directly put in the body? And then he made a particular, he was in the University of Florida in 69. He made the first bioactive glass, that is called the bioglass, that is 45S silica. This glass has got, you can see, it has a silica, it has a calcium oxide, it has a sodium oxide, it has a phosphorus pentoxide. So these are the composition of the material. He made that glass which was very much close to our which is suitable for the body. And in the bone material which is there, it is very close to that thing, and this was the best bioactive material. So now even today there are people are taking this as a base, and they do many other research going different size. They are changing this, different changing other, and then making the different kind of material. But this was we can say the father of this bioactive glasses. Now this is just to show the bone, and in the bone what we have got, we have some structures we have got. How we, as in the scientific language, how we can find out that whether we are getting the right type of material or not. So we do the X-ray diffraction, we do some infrared spectroscopy, we do, and then establish that what material a scientist has prepared in his lab, whether it is really suitable for the bio applications or not. So some applications they are done in that. Yes, this is some kind of a spectra we get, and then we confirm that this is right material. One of the important application is the magnetic bioglass material, which is actually used for the hyperthermia treatment of cancer. So in biomagnetic material, it is again a glass, bioactive glass or glass ceramic, depending upon what we are making. And then what we do, this glass, first we make this glass and test whether it is compatible for our body or not. That is depending upon the measurement which we have done. So after those measurement we have done, we find that then there is a magnetic particle. We add some magnetic particle like iron oxide or something is done, and then during the process it makes some magnetic item. Okay, so once we put this material, this is called the magnetic active glass or glass ceramic. So this material carries some medicine and we can insert it to the affected area in the cancer and thing, hyperthermic type. So what we do is we can just look at it that at that particular place we have to create a local heat because they in a hyperthermia the cancerous cells they do not withstand higher temperature. They will die early. That 43 degrees centigrade they die, and for the other temperatures are normal cells can go up to 46 degrees. So what we want to do, we want to raise the temperature of that area in a controlled manner, not more than 43 degrees. So when we bring it to that temperature with this material, and in this case this is inside the body, but we heat it from outside. By some magnetic or some alternating field, we heat it and bring it to temperature so that those cancerous cells will die and healthy cells will stay. And this is the philosophy which is used for the hyperthermia treatment of the cancer. This is one of the applications. Now this everybody knows, everybody has a problem with the tooth and other things sometime. Either now you can see there is no difference between our natural teeth and these artificial teeth. They complete teeth they can be making. And I also remember that earlier in our time when we were going for the filling and other things, they will tell that they will not fill. They say for 24 hours you stay, not eat anything and nothing, so it will set there. But now the technology has improved. We have got a better material which within 1 hour that material will set and you can do all efforts. Nowadays they don't ask you to wait for 20 hours or 24 hours before you can eat. So these are, and the new replacement of the teeth can be put exactly in the same manner. These are available now. Now this kind of implant for the hip replacement or the knee replacement, also this kind of coatings or coat material, bioactive material and biomaterials are available which are of that glassy material. And you can see this, we have the different ceramic and glasses which can be put in the knee, hips and thing. Because even the knee replacement nowadays you must have seen that they have metal and nothing in between, they have got the ceramic part, they put it inside. And now this is for the, actually they make again new technology is there that they solve the technology by that we take the, because we have to do the drug delivery. Nowadays that for particular disease and anything you have to do the drug delivery. And this material we want to, this is a sort of a porous material. And the scaffold we can say fibrous material which has got the fine pores and other things where the drug is put and this thing is inserted, sent to the body. It will be directed with proper medical thing. It will be, once you put through mouth or through injection, it will go to the right place. And after the delivery of the drug, the drug will be given and then the remaining part will be just go from the body, it just comes out through the normal routes. So just drug is delivered and I think so these are made and this is magnetic hyperthermia, actuated local drug delivery, magnetic resonance imaging for that purpose, and scaffold guiding, bone regeneration application, all these kind of things are made with this technique. And these are all again the biomaterials of the glass and glass ceramic available for the spacer or some filling material and other things for different things. These are nowadays quite available and we can by using these things. Now efforts in DRC and we think there are many things to attend. I'll just come through this. This is I just want to put on slide that this is the material, bioactive material and other type of material which has been done in my lab, which I have been working for. So these are the different systems because now this is not the right place where to discuss this thing, but this has been, I have been working on this thing for last 25 years. This is another item. Okay. This is one of the items which we have made for our heavy water plants. This was a particular type. DRC has the heavy water plants and other things. So some particular type of the material glass we have made, which we can say what is important in it. It has got a seal which we have made, which can withstand a pressure of 12,000 psi difference. because it is used, and high corrosive ambient, because this material was developed because initially this material was being imported, but at some stage when we have done some nuclear tests and other things, so these materials were not given to us. It was a ban on this thing. So these materials were developed and we made those things, and it was being used in those plants. Then these are different type of again seals we have made. Again, which is with the stainless steel, copper, we can see. For different material, make a seal which is again needed for the various applications. These are for the SRO application. They put that their devices that HMC package, the high micro circuits and other things. So they, in order to the circuit will put inside, and this is completely sealed. But how to take contact? So many pins and other things. This is put with the metal. So these are special type of glass were made, capillaries were made, and those things were made. So it is very sealing is there as well as we can make the contact. So such important. Again, another type of seals which have been actually made in our glass. This is one material which has been made with a glass ceramic material, which is again it is a ceramic material. It is made a machinable. So this normal ceramic material will be hard. So if you try to do any tooling on that thing, it will break and other thing. But this material you can directly put on the net and think you can make the material as thin as about we have got about 500 micron sliced pen also be taken. So this material was developed in my lab only. We have this is a machinable aluminum silicate glass ceramic, and we have used for different. Now this is the laser. This work also has been done, and this laser material, laser rod, glass lasers are made, and this glass is made, and this is done in RRCAT. We have another center in Indore where the laser, particularly laser. So this glass was made, and from that glass, the laser rods are made, and then we have made the laser system for some experiment. High power lasers are made for many applications. This is again we have used when we do the nuclear research reactors and other things are there. So we have to, whatever the nuclear waste is there, we cannot just release it anywhere. So we have to contain it. For containing, because of the good stability of the glass, and this is the radioactive materials are put inside the glass. It is embedded in the glass, in the matrix of the glass, so it is kept. So the complete process is then in the glass, and then it is put in the proper canister. Then we put it in the in particular place for a long time before we put it in the deep geological repository. But the glass is first made, all radioactive material is put in that, then it is put in the canister, the cans are made, then they are stored in some very specially designed place we have made, and we have stored it for a long time so that the radioactivity will completely dry, and then we put it in the nature. This is these are different plants of the or reprocessing plants in the high level waste in the Tarapur, Kalpakam, even in the Trombe. Now this was for the made in the CGCRI to make the radiation resistant glasses. These glasses are 1 meter by 1 meter, 400 mm, 100 meter high. These are the such big glasses are made, which are of the required quality. These are put in the all or hot lab. Hot labs means where the radioactive work goes on. So where the whole work is done from outside with the remote handling and everything. But how to see that thing? So one has to put these windows there so that that radiation doesn't come out, but you can see it. So these are only protection. Now I am coming to our final thing that now we have seen that glass and glass ceramics have played a very important role in our everyday walk of life. Present day advanced technology understanding have led to many applications and in the strategic area as well as in modern society. Looking at the properties, utility and versatility, glass and glass ceramic and the impact of high technology, I can only say that the applications of glass and glass ceramic, if it is there, it is in our imagination. There is no limit on the glass side. And glass is to that journey into the made in the world by glass and glass ceramic where the information moves with the speed of light. Now we have seen with the optical fiber, information moves with the speed of light. Then stability coexists with versatility. Every surfaces, we have extraordinary surfaces, we have coatings and other things, and industries discover the powerful solution to the impossible problem. These are also available now. Finally, glass has become an integral part of modern life. We can say there are various properties like transparency, chemical inertness, novel electrical, thermal properties, high melting point, biocompatibility, composition. These are all good qualities from the numerous applications. And as we know that throughout the history, materials have transformed the society. Because from the evolution of our human we found that in the beginning as the requirement where first we were at the Stone Age, then it was the Bronze Age, then Iron Age, Space Age, Computer Age, and so on. Many other things are coming in. So now this is the Glass Age, and a special moment in the time arrival of the Glass Age. Now people have started talking that we are now entering to Glass Age. You have seen the kind of application, uses and other things of the Glass Age. And Glass Age where material science, because now it is the science which has actually given some new applications and many applications, useful applications, pushing the boundaries, creating new possibilities of the glass-enabled technology and design. So that is how we can welcome the glasses. Now I will come to this one video is there which will tell you about how the bendability, bendable glasses come.
Corning's glass has been helping to shape the way we interact with technology for decades. It's the window covering many of the screens we look at on a daily basis, and it's the armor that protects our phones from these types of falls. As technology has evolved, the glass has had to evolve right alongside with it. And though the use cases may have changed, the one thing that remains the same is that the display is still one of the first things that users are interacting with. So today, we're here to see how the glass itself is helping shape the next generation of devices. We took a trip to Corning's headquarters in New York to find out what the makers of Gorilla Glass are cooking up next. Glass is made up of two basic ingredients, sand and a whole lot of heat. But add anything else to the mix, and you're left with a totally different type of glass. In fact, even changing the baking temperature or the cooling time can drastically alter its properties.
If you think about all the dimensions of glass, its optics, its chemical composition, its physical properties, its electromagnetic properties, we're learning how to control all of those in incredibly precise ways.
This is Corning's test kitchen, where new glass recipes are baked at temperatures of over 1,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than molten lava. Their latest recipe, ultra-thin bendable glass. As the foldable phone space heats up with companies like Samsung and Royal entering the market, Corning continues to push the envelope on how much glass can bend.
To go to a tight bend radius, you have to go to a glass that's much, much thinner than what you have today. And some of the glasses we have in our laboratory is thinner than a human hair.
We got an early look at Corning's ultra-thin bendable glass, and though we weren't allowed to film it, this is Corning's footage of what it actually looks like. It's not their first bendable glass, but it's a lot thinner and a lot more flexible than the Willow glass they introduced a few years back. It bends to a 5mm radius, and the texture feels more like thin plastic than a sheet of glass. This glass is still in development, which means you won't find it on any foldable devices yet, but Corning is ready to start working with its customers to implement it into future designs.
The foldable opportunity is a little bit of a moving target now because the use case isn't quite clear how people can use these devices, and the form factors are still evolving, whether it's going to be in-fold or out-fold or tri-fold or small radius or large radius.
But the future of glass is not just about foldables, and it stretches well beyond phones. In fact, glass may be taking the driver's seat when it comes to automotive design. Corning has also been working on curved dashboard displays, textured glass that can mimic different car surfaces, and anti-reflective glass that will reduce glare and make fingerprints disappear.
Inside the car, many surfaces, almost all the surfaces inside that vehicle have shape, have form, except for this display. And so what designers are looking to do is be able to bend those displays around the user, the driver, around the passengers.
With Corning's new glass, everything from the car windows to the car consoles can become usable displays that seamlessly blend right into the interior of the car. Manufacturers like BMW, Ford, and Porsche have already started using some of their glass in newer car models, with more to come in 2019. And Corning's just scratching the surface when it comes to the possibilities of glass in new technologies.
So far, scientists have incorporated about 50 elements from the periodic table into silica. But essentially, the entire periodic table is available. And I really think that we're just getting started. And to think about the potential of using the periodic table, think about holding the Oxford English Dictionary in your hands and how many words you can make with only 26 letters.
Corning's glass has been helping to shape the way we interact with technology for decades. It's the window covering many of the screens we look at on a daily basis, and it's the armor that protects our phones from these types of falls.
As technology has evolved, the glass has had to evolve right alongside with it. And though the use cases may have changed, the one thing that remains the same is that the display is still one of the first things that users are interacting with. So today, we're here to see how the glass itself is helping shape the next generation of devices.
We took a trip to Corning's headquarters in New York to find out what the makers of Gorilla Glass are cooking up next. Glass is made up of two basic ingredients.
Yeah, so on this side, thank all of you for your kind attention.
Non-breakable glass.
Yeah.
So my
My question is about the breakability of glass.
Yeah.
Because we hear that glass is non-breakable, but our general experience is people don't use glass things because they are afraid that they will break.
Yeah.
commonly associated with glass is breakable.
Breakable, yeah, that is the thing. Yeah.
So actually, when all this technological improvement is going on, I think this one improvement, if it becomes non-breakable, because as we are showing in that even if it falls, it doesn't break. But this is a major defect, I would say, in glass as a material for any use at all. And I don't know whether you showed that how a bullet cannot go through
Yeah.
the
Through that.
a bulletproof glass.
Yeah, bullet.
How is it that glass cannot stop the sound coming from outside?
Yeah.
Because I have a house which just overlooks a road.
Yeah.
I can hear every sound that is made of the room.
Yeah, it will come.
So why is it that there cannot be a common sound? There will be some special types of soundproof glasses.
There is a soundproof thing, but
But if usually some of these specialties are so expensive that there is not much point in for the common man.
yeah,
He cannot really afford. I know that there are there's some special word for it. There are special types of glass which can which can make the room soundproof.
yes.
If that can be made cheaper or affordable, then only people will benefit from it.
No, that's true.
Because
That
in
is right.
urban areas
No.
now, noise pollution is becoming a major problem. And you will always find like now big houses will be next to
Yes.
congested roads.
Yeah.
And so all noise keeps on coming in. The question is, why is it that when we can even think of a fiber of glass,
Yeah.
how come that we have not been able to make soundproof glass affordable or non-breakable glass affordable?
At an affordable cost. What is
Not
it?
affordable.
Affordable cost.
It may exist, but
No.
it is so costly that nobody can use it. And, its existence
Yeah,
has no
but
meaning.
these are a special application, but at least the daily usage material, they are available, they are at the affordable cost. Now, for example, the crockery and other things, they are affordable. That is one part of
That
it.
is one part.
But the special application like the bulletproof where you need, or you need a soundproof where in the auditorium and other things. So,
But that is a more common application
Yeah.
which a citizen is looking for.
yeah. So,
And somehow, all this development of
no, I got your point that this should be, to what extent it is serving the purpose for the common people and everything. It is serving a certain class of people, certain industries and things, but to go to the level, at the very grassroots level, that it is serving it,
where it can be of use to common man.
yeah, I agree. Certain things are to the common use when we are making use, it is to the person usable, but to be specific person to use it, it may not be available.
Well, I think you talked about that
This-
anti-reactive glass.
Yeah.
That is, it doesn't retain the
Coating, if you put the coating,
drops
it
out
drop out water, yeah.
I think that probably is, if it is affordable,
Yeah.
it can be
People
of use.
put some coatings
all,
are
all persons who can use
if
specs.
you are going to the now in the eye shop, we get he makes a glass. He say I should put a coating glasses are put on it. Then you get a better clearance, or you get. So those things are expensive definitely, but as a technology, things have come up. But now it has to come to the
Technology also must make things
yeah.
affordable.
Just a thing like that.
Affordable.
Yeah, I got your point, and it is a very valid point, and I think it should be executed, but maybe take time. Before it is happening for every technology. Advanced technology, this is particularly happening.
And we talked about hyperthermia
Yeah.
for cancer.
Yeah.
Is it being practiced or
Yeah,
is
it
it, or is it only theoretical?
No. It is hyperthermia is being used. Hyperthermia is being used.
It's being used.
But not very large scale, but it is being used to the limited extent. The hyperthermia treatment of this thing using these.
It is not. Is it a part of chemotherapy?
No, it is not chemotherapy. It is not chemotherapy.
Chemotherapy is chemical.
Chemotherapy is a radiation, or you have some.
But,
it is
but this kind of treatment is not widely
no,
practiced.
not widely used. It will take still time because whenever we are coming for the human beings, it has to undergo to a large.
It has to be safe.
It has to be so. It has to sustain the test for a longer time so that you don't find today it has no effect, but you may find that after 10 years something else comes up. So they have to see, and a lot of clearances also are needed for these materials to be used in the medical. But particularly the implants and other things, they are common. Implants are common, but particularly bioactive materials which are being put inside, that will take time. New materials will take time. So it is development.
Thank you.
नमस्कार. डॉक्टर कोठियल यांनी आपल्याला आता सांगितल्याप्रमाणे आत्ताचा सध्याचा ग्लास एज काच युग आहे, जसं स्टोन एज, आयर्न एज, आणि त्याच्यामध्ये त्यांनी आपल्याला काचेच्या जन्मापासून आत्ताच्या लेटेस्ट म्हणजे आधुनिक ऑप्टिकल फायबर टेक्नॉलॉजी किंवा लेसर टेक्नॉलॉजीपर्यंतचा प्रवास सुंदर रीतीने घडवलेला आहे. त्याच्याबद्दल मी त्यांचा आभार आहे.
This has come to the common people, at least for the communication. Communication.
Particularly fiber technology.
तर पुढच्या व्याख्यानाची घोषणा 38वे व्याख्यान 17 मे 2019 रोजी BIRCतील निवृत्त शास्त्रज्ञ व मराठी विज्ञान परिषदेच्या ज्या पत्रिका आता मी दिल्या त्याचे संपादक डॉक्टर राजीव चिटणीस यांचे आईन्स्टाईनची सापेक्षता या विषयावर होईल. आपण सगळ्यांनी